Good afternoon, everybody. Here we are again. I've just been sat here for the last couple of minutes, just having a quiet moment before I started. And I think the most grateful thing I'm thankful for at the minute is that I'm actually healthy enough that I can still do this. And mainly that my husband has been able to get bread and milk. Not that I eat bread or drink milk, but he does. So, sometimes it comes to things like this that we need to just sort of take a moment, don't we, and think about it. But then let's have some time out and do something that's just going to take our mind away from everything for a moment. So, hi there, Helen. Julie, hi Julie, Catherine. I hope Caitlin's with you as well, Julie. Say hi to her for me. And Maddie, of course. Angela, Pat, hi there. And thank you ever so much for joining me again. If you were here for the last session, you can see that we created this little tile here. And then I showed you how to use your journal to put it in there. And some of you have been posting. Thank you for that. If you've seen Jackie's in particular, hers is all done in pink. It's fabulous. So, don't think you've just got to stick with basic colours. But for the purpose of these tutorials, I'm going to keep it as simple as I can, and I'm going to stay on the cream tiles. And today I did promise I was going to use one of the stencils. Don't worry if you've not got one. It really doesn't matter. You're going to be freehanding it. I'm going to use the heart shape here. So I want that one to tile. Everything else can go out of the way. Don't need anything else. So a nice, clean, tidy space. There's my tile, my stencil. And I've got a pen, a pencil, and a tortillon, which is a little paper stub, a nice pointy end. You find if these go a bit blunt, use a nail file and just sort of file it off a little bit and you'll be absolutely fine. So here we go. Deep breath. I'm going to start on the back of my tile. I'm going to own it by putting my name on it, just as we always do. There we go. And I did check the date as well before we started. It is 25th of March. Gosh, isn't it going? Sun's out, spring's here. And I'm going to call this tile number 2 because it's number 2 of our little emergency sessions here. Okay, so from there then, let's turn over. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my stencil on. Now, you haven't got a stencil, please don't panic. Just freehand. You're wanting something that sort of fits the size of your tile, but then also you're wanting a sort of a wider border. Now if I put my pen there, you can see it's sort of about the thickness of my pen. So here we go. I'm going to draw on the inside and I'm going to draw around the outside. So in a sense, it's really, that's our string. Oh, good grief. Try and hold it and do it at the same time and follow the camera. There we go. But that's fine. I can sort that later. Okay, moving that out of the way now. We don't need that. So I'm going to start by working in the centre of my little heart shape here. I'm just going to join those two together. All right, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And this is sort of freehanding now. We're not going to worry too much about whether our lines are straight or not. Really doesn't matter. So here we go. I'm going to start here and I'm going to put myself in a grid. Now we did grids, didn't we, the last session, but just for those of you that didn't see, what I'm going to do is I tend to split my page. So there's my heart and I've sort of split that in half. And then here I could go again, but I'm going to sort of go and get 2 lines in there, like 1 and 2 there. And I'm going to do the same here, splitting it 1 and then 2. So I've got these stripes going on, sort of a diagonal sort of motion. Hi there, everybody. And same way this way, splitting that in sort of half. Here we go. There we go. And then let's split that one and that one. And then let's do the same here, this one. And then just a tiny little one there. So I've got this sort of grid going on in the middle. Okay, from there then, let's sort of enlarge it so you can see one. I'm going to take, it doesn't really matter where we start, but I'll take this one. And I'm going to do, from the top to the bottom there, a bit of a curve. Okay, and then looking at the forward section here, I'm going to just fill that in so it's a little bit thicker. If I turn my tile round, I can do that the same there, so it joins in the middle. So it's a little bit like a wave. Hi Karen, Karen, your board is amazing. If anybody's not seen Karen Meeking's board yet, it's brilliant. You need to have a look at it. Okay, I've done the same thing there, I've done this curl. And from there, I'm going to thicken this section up a little bit, colour it in, turn my tile round, and then I'm going to repeat it and do the same there. Okay, so I've got this sort of like movement there with that cross. So let's take the next one. So if you want to, you could do this, and then you could do the curve that way. And then, just as before, filling each section in. Now you see there I didn't turn my tile. Well, that's fine if that's how you want to do it. I'm going to turn it this way though, so I can get one there, and I can get one in there. So far so good. Okay, so I'm going to keep repeating that process now, putting those curves in, thickening that one up, adding that black in there, and then doing the same with that one. I'm going to turn my tile. I think what you'll find here, you'll find a bit of a rhythm, so you might want to turn every time, you might want to colour each section separately, but I'm quite happy now, I think, to go there, then there, thicken that one up, and thicken that one up, turn it round, same again, thicken that one up, and thicken that one up. Alright, so this is how it's sort of looking so far. Alright, we're getting this little bit of a pattern going on. So I'm going to keep going until I've completed all the squares or diamonds or rectangles or whatever shape you might find you've got there. Turning that round, and from there, and that one. Now I hope that you're finding the pace okay. Obviously, you know, we can take easily 2 hours to do this, taking it slowly, but I'm sort of going just to sort of keep you on going. If you find it's a little bit quick, you can always rewind or watch it back a little bit later and pause it where you need to. But take as long as you want. You don't have to worry about finishing at the same time as me. Just do what you can. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, quite liking colouring these little bits in. It's got a little bit of one there. Look, don't see much of that, but it's still there. It's still important. There we go. And so a little bit there. So that's going to sort of be here. I'm going to fill that one in there. Down that way. And there. It builds pretty quickly actually. It's not going to take too long to get this done. But it's quite a nice little pattern that you can use. Hi there, thanks for joining. What have we got there? Karen. Oh, let's see. There we go. You're sort of coming in a little bit late. Don't worry about it. We've created a grid, and we're creating these little swirls from side to side and just thickening up each section as we go along and colouring it in like such, turning our tile and then filling that bit. I think it gives it a bit of movement, doesn't it, when you start adding those swirls in. There we go. So how's the day going? We've all cleaned and dusted more than we ever have in our lives, I think. All the washing and ironing's done. Well, mine isn't, I must admit. That's the last thing I think I'd be doing. Our dogs are loving it though, so we've got the back door open. And especially Benji, the new one. I mean, he's about 5 months old now. He's running around like a loony. And poor Seth is getting on a little bit now. I don't think he can quite keep up with him. He just sort of catches him on the way out, I think. Goes with him there. But it's quite funny to watch. So, here we go. They said it wasn't taking too long. Hi, Sam. There we go. I say everybody that has ordered the emergency set from me, just a quick thank you for that. Appreciate it. It was just making sure that you got the bits you need so that we can work together on the same things. But I did nip to the post office and I did buy all the stamps, and I've got all the envelopes, so I don't need to go in and upset the post office any more than necessary. We're just lucky that they're staying open, aren't we, at the moment? Oh, that one's going to be sort of about there. And there. I might even sneak that one in at the same time, look. So those little bits. There we go. And that one. And that one. And in we go. Following it through. It's created quite a nice pattern. You could even tangle and add patterns inside these sections if you wanted to. Paradox would be quite good in there. I think, I talk so much about that one, and maybe I need to do a session on that and show you all just how that could be done and how good the results can be from just having a go at it. There we go. Almost done with this. There you go. There's one there. And there's one there. Let's just have a look. See, I've got one here and one there. So always have to, just sort of stand back a bit and have a look at it and just see if there's anything that you've missed. So far, so good. Okay. Quite like that one actually. I like doing that colouring in and how it all comes together. There you go. Just a few bits missing. Excuse me with that. I'm not looking at it as closely as you might be looking at yours. I'm sort of looking through a camera almost. So there we go. So far so good. All right, I'm not really going to do anything else in that at the moment. I'm going to put my pen away just for a little while and I'm going to go in with my pencil. I'm not shading yet. I'm going to leave that for a little bit. I'm going to split up my frame just to sort of give us a guide really. So very lightly with your pencil, top and bottom. And then I'm going to turn it round and do the same again. So we've got 4 sections. And then from there, I'm going to go in again and split this one and this one. This one, this one. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to split it once more, each one in the middle. Now you notice here I'm sort of on a bit of an angle. That's because I'm sort of aiming around the middle, so it sort of looks like it's going round that heart shape. And this is the way I'd work if you'd got a circle or any other shape really. You want to try and keep that angle going if you can. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 all the way round. All right, back in with our pens then. All right, so starting from this top section, well, let's just make it a little bit bigger. From the point of the heart shape, I'm going to go from here to this line here in a straight-ish line, and then the same on the other side. There we go. So that gives us that. So then from there, I can work my way around. I'm going to go from this point up here. And if you want to just hang back a little bit, you can see where I'm going with this, and then you get the idea. So up there, then from here to this one. So you can see now I'm starting to create a zigzag pattern all the way around. You notice I'm turning my tile. I find it easier to draw a straightish line towards me rather than away. So if I enlarge that a little bit, you can see that this is the one we started with. Hi Joyce, Jackie. Who's that there? Oh, she's there. So from there, here, to this one, and to there, to there. Remember these pencil lines, they're just a guide, just to give you a helping hand. You'll not see them afterwards. There we go. And to there. Then up to this one. Round there, up to this one. And finally, just like we planned it, join into that one. So we've got that kind of shape. Okay. We're all with that one? Okay. So let's go a little bit bigger now, and let's focus on these outer sections first, I think. So I'm going to ignore this bit and I'm going to work here. Now, just so happens on this line, this grid line or guideline we started with, I'm going to start from this point and I'm going to create a little teardroppy kind of shape or petal shape, whatever you want to call it. You see that? From there, and I've gone to that there. So let's do it bigger so you can see it. Okay? So still working in just this section. I'm going to create half a shape there, half a shape there, and then fill in the middle with a full petal or a little teardrop and a full there again. Okay, so if I just zoom that out, you can see where I've worked. So not on the triangle on the inside, I'm working on these shapes around the outside. Okay, so I'm going to fill that with a little bubble type shape. So I quite like go around a couple of times, so I've got them definitely. And then any of those gaps, see how I might even sneak one in there, look, because it's quite a big gap. There we go. And then just fill in with your black pen, or whatever colour pen you happen to be working with at the time, it's fine. There we go. Just sort of defines those little bubbles. There we are. Okay, so we've got something that looks a little bit like that. Alright, so moving on then, we're going to do the same thing here. So we started following that guideline in that little petal in, half a petal there, half a petal there. Hi Nina, inspiration. Oh, give it a go. Give this one a go. I have got a journal page that I've done with it afterwards, and I'll show you what you can actually do with it if you want to. There we go. So I'm going to fill in that there. If you can get 2 in, that's fine. If you can't, doesn't matter. I might even get 3 in there, look. There we go. Even 3 there. And then any space, I'm just going to go in and fill those gaps in. There we go. Just colouring in those little bits as I go. Not sure which I prefer actually, whether it's the colouring in or whether it's the shading after or it's the drawing to start with. I think I like it all. Okay. Moving round then, I'm going to repeat the process. So we know this is what it's all about, is nice simple lines and repetition. Just keep it going the way through. Just touching the top of that heart shape there. It's quite a nice shape actually to work with, the heart, as it can be symmetrical. It tends to work really well. But if you've not got the heart and you've worked on a square, it works just as well. That's fine. It's all about splitting your space up as you go. So there we go. With those little bits. Good job we've got a fine pen, isn't it? Just to get into those little bits there. See, because I've enlarged mine, you can see every little detail. Look at that. That's okay. Here we go. Alright, moving round there. So you see here where I did go a little bit awry with my stencil earlier. That's not a problem. I'm just going to pretend it's not there, and I'm just going to fill in round it. That's not a problem. Oh, is that Nina? Oh, Nina. Now with these pens at the moment, you can see I've actually got a 01, but my kits usually contain a 0.2. I wouldn't go any bigger than a 3 because then it starts to get a little bit bigger. But whatever is comfortable for you, whatever you can get hold of at the time. I know some people, I'm not mentioning any names, Leslie, she uses a 0.03, which is very fine, but it's not necessary unless you really want to go that. Fine, whatever suits you. But I would say a 0.2 is probably a really good one to start with. Doesn't matter whether if it's black, brown. I think they do a blue black now. That's really nice. Some people prefer the plastic nibs, which you can get hold of as well. Instead of saying 0.1 there, it'll say micron PN plastic nib. So they're quite nice too. Actually, I've not got one handy, but I've got a couple. They do work nicely. There we go. You see that original line that was sort of really noticeable now has sort of disappeared a little bit, so that's okay. Alright, so far you can see where we're working. I'm doing the same pattern all the way around. I'm just going to continue doing that, starting with the one in the middle. Then I'm doing a half one, and a half one, and a full one in the middle there, and a full one in the middle there. There we go. And fill in that space with some of those bubbles. There we go. Getting 1 or 2 in. Oh, I might sneak one in there, look. And then filling in the gaps. Hi, Jules. There we go. If you've just joined us and not sure what we're doing, don't panic. You can re-watch this afterwards and see where we went with it, but just follow along and just pick up a bit of paper. If you don't have a tile, doesn't matter. Pick up a bit of paper and just give it a go. We're working in triangle shapes, and then we're filling it with these little petals almost. There we go. One in there, and we'll get one in there. And just fill in those gaps as we're going. 1 or 2 in there if you can. If you don't, doesn't matter. Let's fill them gaps in. Well, that's a good question, Joyce. My board, this one. Sometimes, yeah, for the majority of it, I would say I did go in with pencil first. And that was just really, not to plan it as such, but just to make sure that the proportions were right and the size was. What I did do, certainly for things like this, is I followed the grain of the wood. So it depends on which grain and which board you had at the time. And these were drawn originally with pen first. If I'm using a pencil, so say for example, this one here, I did go in and I drew this in pencil, but you see with the detail, so the extra lines and the balls within, I didn't use pencil there, I went straight in pen. So it's just the outline that I started with. Once I'd got the outline, then straight in with pen. I think it had taken me hours and hours, or more hours and hours, to have gone in with pencil all the way and then over with pen. So just enough to give you a framework to work within, and then from there, that's fine. There we go. How are we doing then? We're almost there, or I bet you're waiting for me. I bet I'm taking my time. There we go. I'm going to fill that bit in. In with those. Almost done. Okay. So let's have a look at that then. Something like that. It's not bad actually. I quite like how the extra drama's been put in there, by using that black. It just gives it a little bit of an edge. Okay, so we've got these spaces to fill now. So let's enlarge one of those a little bit. Doesn't matter where you start. So I don't know. Let's start with this one here. Remember this sort of half a petal shape that we did? I'm gonna do a half shaped petal there too. And then another one there. and then another one there. Okay, and then in the centre, you might want to just sort of line your pen up and get ready for it. Or shall I go that way? Shall I go no, that way? As I'm going to put a bubble in the middle of that one, and then I'm going to put little ones either side of it, and again I'm going to colour in whatever space is left. If you just want to do a large one in the middle, that's fine, but I'm going to go with that. So if I bring that out a little bit, you can see what I've done. So I've filled in this space here. Alright, we're almost not seeing those guidelines anymore. So back in with this one, I'm going to do half petal there. Then I'm going to do another half petal there, and then a half petal there, and then in with that one, and those little bubbles round it, and fill it in. This is where sometimes if you break it down, you can see these little steps. You think, oh, it's pretty easy, I can manage that. But then you see it like a whole pattern, you think, oh my goodness, I did that. Love doing that. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to do this one, but I'll do it a little bit slowly this time. From here, half petal. From this side, half petal. And then from this bit, half petal. Put the bubble in the middle, bubbles on those sides there, and fill it in. Alright, now if you find a different pattern, or you're not filling it in, or that's entirely fine, this is just giving you an idea of what you can do. Let's look at that. There we go. You can see where it's now starting to sort of work its way around, but we're focusing just on those little bits. Now we come to this. This is not quite the same triangular shape, is it? So what I'm going to do here is the two on the outside as before, but then here, rather than go through with just one, I'm going to just do one there and one there, just for something a bit different. It's sat on the top anyway. But then I'm going to go in with that bubble as before, bubble on each end, and fill in the space. Now if you started with that one, that's fine, and you did the three, it's not a problem, don't panic, it's all good. Okay, back into a triangle shape, petal there, off there, and then fill that one round, and then fill it in. There we go, little bubbles either side. Anybody know why I use the word bubbles and not circle? I should have an array of people that come to my class go, yes, we know why. Yep. So if we were to sort of refer to each one of these circular shapes as a circle, what sort of puts a bit of pressure on, do you think? And before you know it, you're trying to draw a circle that, who can draw a perfect circle? Well, so does it matter? Besides, I suppose if it was a perfect circle, it wouldn't be, wouldn't have those characteristics, would it? That I think Zentangle brings with it, doing your own thing. Oh, Sam, that's good. Got your neighbour having a go. That's brilliant. Oh, I did actually get one of my neighbours to come to a class with me. So she is, I think, secretly obsessed. Love you, Elaine. But it's quite nice, actually. I mean, as though it's a solitary thing and it's nice and quiet to do. It's nice to sort of get other people involved as well. Okay, so I've got this one at the bottom, so I can make my own decisions about this, can't I? I can do a full one as before. I'm going to do the same as I did at the top and do two. There we go. There we go. And just fill those in. Oh, take a deep breath. Hey, Gracie. Oh, that's really kind of you to say thank you. I'm just trying to get it out to everybody there, to say it's not just a tile. You can put this on a card. You can, you could have just done the outside and had a picture inside, or you could have stamped a sentiment. That looks really busy, that, doesn't it? But pretty, I'm loving that, absolutely loving it. All right, a couple more things to do before we actually go in with the shading. And remember, I've just talked about those little bubbles or little orbs. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start here at the top, and I'm going to put one in there, and I'm going to follow the whole of that heart shape. Now, you see I go around and I do it sort of double just to reinforce it. You don't have to, I just quite like the weight that's there. Each one's touching, and you can see it's starting to form a little bit of a frame around that heart shape. There we go. Just keep going. Now this is where you have got to stop and really look at what you're doing. So don't expect them all to be the same, because they're not going to be. Oh, I've gone off, look. There we are, I'm still going. Just keep working your way around as you're going. There's something about doing these, I love them. It really calms me down. I find if I slow it down a little bit and try and breathe at the same time. That's half of it done, look. There we go, just keep following it round. There you are, so we've all gone quiet now, haven't we? That's the idea. See, this is where I did that little thing with the stencil at the beginning. Well, that's fine now, look, it's almost vanished. There we go. Let's keep going. Not far off now. There's something to be said about keeping it simple like this. It's nice and steady. There we go. No pressure now to sort of join them at the top, is there? There we are. One more. There we go. Wow. Look at that. Leslie will become addicted. It's not a bad thing to become addicted to, is it? Look at that. All right, how brave you're feeling. Actually, it's not that difficult. What we're going to do, I'm going to sort of pick, doesn't matter where, I'm going to start in the middle here. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to leave a space and do another one. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to leave another space and another. Making the one in the middle a little bit longer. Now, the challenge here is you sort of think, am I going to get all the way around and find that I haven't got another space? But do you know what? It really doesn't matter. I'm just going to follow it through all the way around, going 1, 2, 3. It's almost like a waltz if you keep it in time, I suppose. There we go. And you know what? If I get to the other end and I've not got a space, that doesn't matter. Who's going to count? Who's going to know? Okay, there's one in the middle there. Oh, I missed that one. Or if you wanted to do it in every single one, there's no reason why you didn't. You don't have to do exactly the same as me. I know somebody out there that'll be doing her own thing, won't you, Jackie? And I think that's brilliant. There we go. Just keep going all the way around. Oh, Leah, it's not difficult. I don't want you to worry about that. It's just about picking the pen up and just giving it a go. There's no right or wrong. It's not going to be judged by anybody. Ah, see, look here. Look, I've got 2 spaces. Well, that's okay. I'm just going to sort of like flick one in. And you're never going to notice. Absolutely. Oh, card, Nina. Now, I use cartridge paper. This is 280 GSM cartridge paper, which is getting a little bit in short supply because it does come from Italy. But it's the best you can, the best you've got in your home at the moment. If you've got a pad in there that's got something that's reasonable, then use it. What you'll notice is it depends on how smooth it is how much the pencil will actually sort of rub across the surface. And it's just about having a go and trying these things. But go with what you've got and what you like to use. I do avoid watercolour paper. That's purely because it's quite the texture of the surface is very heavy, and we don't really want that when we're working with a fine line pen. So it's Nina card would work, Leah. Okay. So I'm going to go in now with my pencil. Now, if you're asking about pencil, if you've got a HB, that's absolutely fine. Going with it, it's not a problem. You don't want to go anything harder than that if you can help it. So anything that says like 1H or 2H on it, perhaps leave that one. If you go for a 2B pencil, which is a lot softer, just beware that you might find that you get loads and loads of pencil on there, and you've just got to control it a little bit. So what I'm going to do now, I'm filling that inside shape of that original heart, and I'm being quite liberal with that pencil. There we go, quite a lot in there, quite a lot on it. And I'm using the side because then I can get a bit more. I'm not using the point. There's not much of a point now. I've been working with it. So there we go. So I've got pencil all the way around the inside of that heart. If I just bring the stencil back in, you can see, look, that's where I'm working, on the inside. Okay. Hi, Shirley. Okay. Our little paper stub then, our tortillon. What I'm going to do is nice and gently, I'm just going to swirl around that graphite a little bit. I'm not really touching the end, I'm touching this section where it's coming into the middle of the heart. And you see, by just being nice and gentle and swirling it round a bit, or swooshing it, and I'm just sort of pulling out some of the graphite into that heart shape. Now the idea is we're just going to pull it a little bit away from the edge. We're not going to go into the centre. I want to keep that as clean and clear as I can. Alright, just turning my tile as I go. Nice and gentle. So it's sort of a mixture of a couple of little swirls and maybe a little bit of I'll work through with it. But the idea is just to be gentle with it. Okay, let's have a look at that. Alright, so if you were just to hold yours a little bit at arm's length, hopefully we're getting something that looks a little bit three-dimensional now. You should have quite dark on the outside edge and light in the middle, and it's going to look a little bit like it's sort of doing this kind of shape. Oh, hi Julie. Oh, I hope the girls are doing well. I want to see what they've done when they've finished. So that's where we're heading with that. Okay, so coming back in then, let's have a look at these sections. Now it's a little bit what we did the other day, a little bit of a smirk almost on these little bubbles. I'm not going to do the little ones, of course. I'm just going to work on the larger ones. Come over around, not much, you don't need much on there, just a little bit in the places there. There we go. Alright, so I'm just, as you can see, I'm just working my way around with that now, just adding a touch. If it's too small, don't worry about it, just a little bit. You probably have enough on your paper stub or your tortillon later to sort of add to that. Okay, so now it comes to these. Let's go in and add a little bit either side of those petals that we've got the line in the middle. And then I'm going to put a little bit up here. And then either side of those. And then a little bit in the middle. Alright, bit in the middle, either side. So I'm going to work my way around doing that. So those where I've got a line going through, you could almost say that they were the leaves and this was the petals if you want to. But I'm not being particularly fussy about it. I'm not being overly neat. I'm just working my way around. just getting some graphite on there. There you go, either side for those. In with those. Either side. And in with those. Okay, so I've got something that looks a little bit like that at the minute. Okay, so tortillon again, just smoothing out those little orbs or little bubbles. So if you find that you have missed one, you probably have enough graphite on the point that you can go in and just add a little bit if you want to. There we go. And then here I'm just going to smooth one end and then the other. I'll make that a little bit bigger. There we are, look. One end, then the other. So we're getting a bit of a light in the middle. And then here I'm just pulling it up bank. So same here. One and then the other. Just leaving that gap in the middle. That's pulling it up this way and in the middle there. So if I just pull it out a little bit. Oh, thank you, Elaine. Oh, the size of my heart. Okay. Hang on 1 second. I know it fits on my tile. Here we go. So, hold on, I'll do it in. So that's 7 centimetres that way. And the inside is about 4.5. And then this way, it's almost square, just over 7. And then inside 4.5. So it's sort of, yeah, that helps. But the whole tile size is 8.3 centimetres square. Every Zentangle teacher, I think, has a different size. We go with whatever, you know, works for us, and that's the size I like to use. Okay, just pulling that out. Sort of takes on a life of its own when you put the. It's not when you put the pencil on, though, is it? It's when you use the tortillon and work the pencil through it. All right, not quite done yet, I think. There's a little bit more to do. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back in with my pen and I'm just going to draw around, and you might want to use your stencil again. And I'm just going to draw back round the inside of that heart, just because I want it, you know, really to be defined in the middle there. There we go. And then I think here on these little petals, I'm going to add a little line in there, and a bubble, and a bubble, and another one, and a bubble. Now again, here you can do your own thing. So there we go, you can see that's what I'm doing. I'm going in and just sort of picking out those petals. And putting some bubbles in there. Just gives it a little bit more detail. You want to do dots or you want to do just some lines, it's entirely fine. Just gives it a little bit of sense. It's looking great, isn't it? We like this one. Oh, I know, that's great. Yeah, good idea. Just give it a bit of a replay and have a go. Sometimes actually it's nice to work alongside, but sometimes it's nice to sit and just watch it and then give it a go afterwards. Actually, it's nice doing it with a glass of wine in hand. But not too many. All right, here we go. That's it. I think that's just defining those petals a little bit more. And sometimes going back in with the pen over the top just makes it stand out a bit as well. There we go. Alright, let's have a look at that then. What do we think? Alright. Imagine, you know, just this as a frame and then, like I said, a sentiment in the middle. Really nice. So last thing to do with that one is to sign it. So as we did before, if you're not sure, we don't sign it with our full name, we just put our initials. There we go. And then before we sort of finish, I want to show you what other things you can do with your stencil. So I'm just going to move that to one side for a second, and then I'm going to bring in a piece of that cartridge paper and stencil again. Now I'm going to use a pencil just for now, and you can see here I'm just going to go in and draw ever so lightly on the inside and the outside. There you are. If I actually hold it, actually, you know, if you find holding it is a bit difficult, a bit of blue tack works wonders. So then I'm going to sort of come down here and I'm going to do a smaller one. I'm going to go over there and under there. Let's have a look at that for a minute. Alright, so I've gone over there and under there. Now if I actually just trace that, remember we did that aura, but a bit thinner. There you go, follow that round, look. And then there. And then let's pull this one up this way. Right, see, that looks a little bit thin there now. So you can see what I'm actually working to here is I've now got two hearts interlocking. And then let's have, let's put another one down here. But I might decide that I don't want it to be so big. See, because I've drawn it really lightly, and I might just draw inside. It gives me a guide to work to. Bit of a guide. See there, look, that's there. There we go. Join those together. So if I now go over those in pen, so from this one, and then this one, I mean, if you've not got the stencil, it's not a biggie. A piece of paper, fold it in half and draw half a heart, cut it out, you've got your stencil. So it's just, sometimes it's just nice to work with a different shape rather than a square tile. You see, I'm not following exactly the heart now. It's a guide. It just gives you an idea as what you can do with it. It just makes something that little bit bigger. So then if I go in now with my heart shape, so now here on the inside, oh, that's it. Just needed to check, I didn't want to get that wrong. I'm going straight through there. And then this one, from there to there. Oh, sorry. So you can see where you're getting this overlapping, but you can also have something that starts to join. And then looking at the patterns that we did with our original heart shape, you can start to add these into here. I mean, for example, if you remember, bringing back this one, if we look at this pattern, it works really well. Hang on. Oh, it's out of focus a bit there. Let's try again. It works really well, starting to come out into building up your design. You see where that's sort of heading? Okay, so if I show you the one that I've sort of done before, and again, this is great to put in your journal. So using all those different patterns, if I bring this one into view, hang on a second. So you can see that's the tile that I've just done, which is pretty similar to the one that I sort of practiced last night. I have added a little bit of red on these bits here, but you can see then that I've taken the same stencil, which I've lost it, there, same stencil here, and done a similar pattern, but instead of doing the extra petals, I did the swirls. Oh, there we are, look. I did the swirls on the inside. Here, you can see where I've added in the pattern that we started with on this tile, which is this one. Here, look, I've got my little poke roots sticking out all over the place. And then here, if you remember on the first tile we did, where we did this pattern underneath, I've done it here but a lot smaller, just to fill in. And then of course I've done these little curves which we've done today all the way around the outside there. And from there you can see that you're starting to create quite a nice sort of page in your journal. There we go. Spiced rum. Absolutely. Okay. Oh, Mary, you're talking about the pencils. No, it's not a special pencil. Although I think it's special to me because it's got my name on it. But now, if you use a regular HB pencil, that's absolutely fine. The softer it is, the more graphite that's going to sort of work your way round. So just be careful with that and not put too much on. So, oh, Gracie, thank you for that. But you know what? You're going to do just as good a job. Honestly, you're probably better because you think I'm standing here on part of a chair with a box that I'm leaning on just to sort of get the camera in focus. So, you know, it's I've really enjoyed it. And I think just using that very small stencil just brings out something else, doesn't it? It's a bit special, that one. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've played along, and I really would love you to sort of post what you've done if possible. Or even if not, if you're going to have another go and do it later, please post. Let's have a look at it. I'm hoping, I'm going to come back on Friday. And I think if I keep it to the same time at 2 o'clock, and we'll do another one. It's entirely up to you if you want to join me. I do hope you do. And it'd be lovely to sort of like follow this through and just keep it going for the next couple of weeks. And hopefully we'll have a good half of a journal sort of worked on, so you can look back at this time and think, well, do you know what? I did have a moment of peace in with all that. So yeah, stay safe, everybody. Take a deep breath. I hope you've enjoyed it, and all being well, I will speak to you again on Friday. All right, you take care, everybody. Bye.